So these men and women, I hope you understand that, it turns out veterans are human beings. They're not just flags, they're not just bumper stickers. They're human beings. And as you hear their stories, you hear the true cost of war. And I urge you when this is over to please seek them out and hear their stories individually and amplify them so that the country can understand. These men and women swore an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, what do you do when you've fulfilled that obligation and you come home and the enemy is now negligence and bureaucracy and apathy? They're not trained for that. The VA has one job: to act for the benefit of the veteran. That's it. You're not an insurance company. You're not an obstacle to care. You are there to act for the benefit of the veteran. And if the culture doesn't change, then we will continue to make the same mistake we've clearly made decade after decade after decade, forcing more suffering and disease when it needn't be the case. I want to thank everybody for being here today, all the VSOs whose tremendous hard work is what has brought this legislation to the fore, and I think will give it the energy and the impetus to pass. If you have any questions for any of our speakers today or anybody else, please feel free. We've got some moments for it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'll start. It seems like we've been here before. A lot of the things we talk about today, you talked to us across the street about with the firefighters in New York, the first responders. Are there things that informed you about that fight that you think helps you now?
Well, I think John Field went a long way towards developing a really solid legislative blueprint, which I lovingly refer to as working the body. It's just meeting after meeting after meeting, and Rosie and Leroy Torres of Burn Pits 360 embody that tenacity and resilience more than anybody. They inspire John and I to go out there. We've had the good fortune of being able to meet with the For Country Caucus, Senator Tester this morning. We believe there can be momentum for this, but at some point the bill comes due. And that's going to be the sticking point always. And we will call out whoever it is in the Senate and the House of Representatives who had the temerity and ability to have all the money in the world to send these individuals overseas and are now deciding to balance the budget on the back of sick veterans. Not going to happen.
One other lesson learned was the excuses against the 9/11 health bill were two things: cost and causation. And we've spent the last nearly 20 years building the epidemiology and showing how when buildings crushed steel and glass and electronics and clothes and debris and every type of waste is crushed with the accelerant of jet fuel, these are the cancers that are caused. So it's very similar. And so just as described by Dan Brewer, who saw what was being burned, that was the same stuff that was burned on 9/11. So I believe there will be less hemming and hawing, less delay because there's no proof. The proof's already been established, and so the scientists already exist. It's why we want to have medical monitoring for this community immediately. So when diseases start to develop, they're treated properly with the right medicines at the right time, and not all the delay in treatment that a lot of our first responders suffered, and now a lot of these veterans coming home are suffering because their local doctors don't know what's going on. So we've learned so much in the fight for the 9/11 health bill. It will all accrue to the benefit of these veterans because the fights are so paralleled.
How bipartisan is this right now? How many lawmakers have gone down in the House and the Senate? And do you have the cost of what this will end up?
So we don't have a cost because CBO won't give it to us yet. But whatever it is, we should pay for it, and we should make people well aware this is the cost of war. And then second, Marco Rubio is our lead in the in the Senate, and the Congress members here are the leads in the House, and we will make this deeply bipartisan. The other bills are deeply bipartisan. They're just not as thorough and not as complete as this chart shows. So I believe we can get those additional Republican and Democrats to support this bill. I think it will be widely bipartisan by the time we get a vote on it.
Do you have a sense, have you heard anything from the White House on this? And do you have a sense of how many people this would actually impact right away?
I have. Do you want to speak to it too though? Have you talked to?
I have talked to the VA secretary and individuals in the policy arm of the White House, and I'll be speaking with them later on today. And I'm hoping that they also can understand the urgency of it and the scope of it.
And I've spoken to President Biden. I spoke to him last on 9/11 while we were at the 9/11 memorial ceremony in New York. And I told him that we were working on this bill and we hoped he would sign it. And he expressed, which he's done publicly, his gratitude for the work of these veteran service organizations and advocates, because he believes his son, Bo, died of brain cancer due to the exposure to burn pits during his service. And that's his personal view. But the commitment of everyone standing here is something that he was deeply grateful for. And I believe having that kind of support from the White House will make an extraordinary difference.
Anybody? We're good? Guys, thank you so much for coming out. I want to thank the congressmen, the senators, all the VSOs. Please, if you're going to do some work, please interview the people behind me and all those that are suffering from this and continue to suffer from it. Thank you.
Go to Warfighter 2021.
And go to warfighters2021.com. Warfighter2021.com. It's right on there, and you'll get a free Feel Good Foundation t-shirt, of which I have 150 of. All right.
Like I won't hit you in front of everybody.